Hello and welcome back to Preserving the Fleet. I'm Paul Scalabroni, volunteer over here on the Joseph P. Kennedy, and today we're in the IC plot room on the ship, and we're going to go a little bit in depth on the 1MC system and what we did to make it work on the ship, because we used to run it back in the day and it actually hasn't run in about 8 years, but recently, the past couple of weeks, we've reinstalled some of the electronics that we used and got the system back up and running, so when you come on board, you can actually hear music playing and general calls on the ship for sweeping stations, general quarters, things that you would normally hear. There wouldn't normally be music playing through the system, but we pipe it through just to set it basically an ambiance for the ship when you walk through, so you kind of hear the system playing, so it makes the ship feel like it's more alive when you're on board and not just empty hallways that are just filled with silence. So I'm going to take you over to the 1MC cabinet over here in the plot room and give you a quick overview of how it would work if it was actually hooked up when the ship was running. So this is the actual 1MC system. So it consists of the switches that would distribute the sound over to the ship to certain stations, compartments. You could cut them off if you didn't want sound, disconnect and connect groups. It also can send to the 17MC, which is for gunnery. And then you have your amplifiers down here, which are tube amps. Back in the day, they weren't using solid state, they were using tube amplifiers. That's the main reason we don't run the system the way it's intended to be run, because these tubes are not cheap, and running it day to day, 8 hours a day, it wouldn't be safe because tube amps need to be monitored. They run warm, they could catch fire, things like that could happen. So the way we get around that is we still use the upper part of this piece. We just take the wiring that goes out to all the speakers on the ship, and we actually go to a box that we made on the other side of the compartment with modern amplifiers, which is what we'll show you right now. So we'll walk over to here. So this is kind of where we cheat a little bit. We made a compartment here, and basically we're running a modern amplifier, an equalizer, and we still have a microphone set up, so if you wanted to do a general announce on the ship, you could actually pick up the mic and make a call through the 1MC if you're trying to page somebody, get their attention. And it's not hooked up now, but we have it so when the Cove does general announcing, it'll actually interrupt the music, and you'll be able to hear the calls for if we're open or we're closing. So if people are on the ship and they don't get the message that the ship's going to be closing soon, then they'll get stuck on board and locked inside the Cove. And basically, the way we're getting the signal into these are little microcomputers. So this is, believe it or not, a little Windows 10 computer that is set to auto turn on with the ship. And all its purpose is to run an audio file in a loop and take the audio, put it into the amp, and run on an infinite loop. That takes the audio out, and then we can go over to the 1MC speakers, and you should be able to hear it playing. So I can't keep it going for too long because of copyright problems, but basically that's playing throughout the entire ship right now. Everywhere there's a 1MC speaker, you're going to hear that and any kind of announcements that go on. You might have noticed there's two computers here, because we have a second computer that's actually running a sound system we play in the plot room. That is a gun battle that happened on a different destroyer, but it's the same system. You can actually hear the computer in here running when it's playing, and all the calls the guys are making when they're running it, which is actually just on a couple bookshelf speakers here. So when we turn that up, when you stand outside the door, it'll actually sound like the room in here is actually having an engagement. So another way to make the space seem like there's people running it, but the equipment inside's not technically doing anything.
Sweepers, man your broom. Clean sweep down fore and aft.
Like usual, we'd like you to like, share, and subscribe to our videos. Any help that you could give us through donations to the website or donations of time, volunteering, coming down and helping out with any projects you've seen on the ships that you'd like to get involved with, we would definitely appreciate it. I'm Paul Scalabroni, volunteer for the USS Kennedy and Battleship Cove in general. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.